All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting for the press conference for the Philadelphia plane crash. We'll wait to see what's going on. I cut the feed until till they're ready to talk, and then we'll come back in. You know, I was looking at some of this photos of the aftermath. I'll tell you, there's a lot of car. Why are these cars doors blown off or whatever? I mean, they might have got lucky and it just caused a chain reaction. For all we know, the government tracked some kind of a device that someone was getting ready to explode in Philadelphia, and they took it out before it detonated massively. That's very possible. There is a bunch of nuclear stuff missing. Let's listen to the birds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting reports that some people are calling this a crime. I see no crime in it. It was an accident. Remember, everyone last night was saying it was an accident. And that's what we're pretty much sticking to, unless they can show me different proof of that. But other than that, just an accident. Like I said, for all we know, the government took out a threat that was within our borders. All power to the government if that was the case. We don't know. We got a bunch of cars out there with doors blown off from the inside out. What happened there? Who knows? Was it a car bombing? Was it a government that took out this threat that was within our government borders, within our government, within our cities and children, innocent children and everything? But I don't know. Yeah, I see no crime. If you ask me, it makes more sense that the government took out a device that was getting ready to explode in Philadelphia. Numerous weapons that have been stolen, they're saying. They have no idea they're tracking it. This is what happens when you don't keep an eye on the weaponry properly. You got the native or the animals that'll steal it. Next thing you know, you got nukes everywhere within your country and biological hazard material and all kinds of stuff. But they would have to prove, right? They would need proof, other than some idiots saying they were going to do something or whatever. You got to have stone cold proof, folks. Not just because some investigator says this is what happened. You show us the scientist, show us the tracking, show us the information you got that this was some kind of a crime or anything. Really, and if this happened, it's not a crime. It's a war. They've declared war. A while back, even Trump said that. A while back they've done this. So I don't know, right? And I'm not agreeing with anything right now that America does. Nada. Not after now I'm poor and got nothing or whatever. Yeah. No. No. I don't see no crime here. what a beautiful day. A little chilly out. A little chilly out, but it's a beautiful day. Oh, there went the mail lady. I'm going to have to go check the mail here soon. Nor rain, nor sleet, nor shine, the mail will run. Whether they get it to the right address or not, that's another thing. But yeah, pretty much, I don't see no crime. Some people are trying to say this is a crime. No crime. You people shouldn't have stole our soul or sent your sicknesses to these people. Right? The devil's sin, the devil's sickness. I don't see no crime in anything that happens in America anymore, really. Right? But there ain't nothing done without God's doing. So, no, I don't see no crimes. Not unless they come up with some proof that somebody did something. But I don't think you know. It's just a plane crash, right? That's what everyone told me when I said something ain't right here. So all I see is a plane crash. That's about it, folks. Or a bombing, car bombing or something. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting for the press release for the accident. I don't know. It I do agree with some of the people. It does. Some of the footage that we're seeing does look kind of fishy. Uh, some people, was it a car bomb or was it a plane or what was it? What actually happened? Who knows? With today's technology and everything, it's so easy to create something that ain't real. So I don't know. Some of these people might be right for all we know, but let's enjoy this beautiful, peaceful Saturday morning. The sun is shining, although it's a little chilly out. Ooh, the birds are out. Let's see if we can get some bird action.
First look investigators are getting while the sun is up in the daytime. What are investigators looking for now at this stage?
The first order of business will be to document all the pieces in the location. So they're going to go over the whole field. They're going to go right back to the airport because it was only in the air 30 seconds. So they'll start on the airport and start looking for any pieces that may have fallen off the airplane before the impact. Pieces that come off the airplane before an impact sometimes can tell a very, very large story.
Sure.
But let's assume for a second they don't find any pieces. They're going to look at the fuel that was put onto this airplane from the actual fuel truck. They'll actually take a sample from the fuel truck. And because it crashed so early after takeoff, that's one of the very first things that you would look at is, was the fuel contaminated?
To your point, the flight took off less than 3 miles away. You have 40 plus years of experience here, John. What was your reaction when you first saw the video and the first question you asked yourself?
What was the fuel, the state of the fuel? Airplanes don't just fall out of the sky on takeoff. They don't lose engine power. He's only 1,600 feet. So the very first thing I thought of was fuel contamination. But now I'm seeing some of the indications that he came down at a 45-degree angle. He may still have had his engines at takeoff power to get to 11,000 feet per second, per minute. This rate. So he may have still had his engines at takeoff power. If that's the case, then that allows you to look at different things like the flight controls. Did he have a problem with his flight controls? Yeah,
that's pretty crazy, right? Where's the plane? Did they pick up the part? Where's the wing? Where is everything? There's nothing. There's no. Where's these jet turbines? And I don't know. How big was this plane? Really don't know. Right. Now, you see that little divot, that little crater right there? Really small. I've seen them before, but only with car bombs. I've seen stuff like that before, but this is very interesting, right? Ain't this the area that was like 2 or 3 months ago? It was on the YouTube. We all were covering it for some, what was it, a funeral home that got shot up or something? Or they thought people were in the funeral home or something was going on. Kind of looks like that same area. That's pretty crazy. There's nothing out of the normal. To me, it looks like just a plane. If there's pieces, they're saying, well, wait a minute, where are the pieces? Who knows?
Unfortunately for the NTSB, this airplane is too old to originally have a flight data recorder installed. So we'll have to look back at the history. It may or may not have one, but when it was originally built, it was unlikely that there was a flight data recorder on the airplane. There is not a voice recorder required on this airplane.
That is such an important point. We're learning more about the plane. It was a Learjet 55 It was made back in 1981. What kind of safety record does an aircraft like this have, John, typically?
Well, they made a heck of a lot of these airplanes, and basically they're a pretty reliable platform, but they have had accidents.
Very slow, a very small plane.
Many of which were caused by pilots, because this is a very high performance airplane. And if you don't fly it actively, you could get in trouble real quick. But on takeoff, I wouldn't suspect that to be an issue, because everybody's attention in the cockpit is pretty focused on takeoff. So it's going to be a challenge for the NTSB.
You made a very... I'm sorry, go on.
If in fact there's no recorder on the airplane, they're going to have to work very hard to figure out what happened here.
That is such an important point, that there was no recorder. So what challenges will that present in getting a final answer?
Now I see a piece of something,
continue?
But I don't know if that's the sign.
Well,
from
first
the gas
off,
station,
we have a set of procedures that have been developed over the years.
and
if you follow them meticulously, and they're very helpful in coming to a conclusion. So they're going to map every piece of debris. They're going to look at every piece of debris that they pick up, and many of it will go back to the laboratory for analysis. You know, you can trust if there's a fire on board the airplane, and somebody said that, and I don't know if I agree with that so quickly, but anyway, you can follow a path of a fire in aluminum. People don't realize that, in the materials in the airplane. So there's a lot of clues that can be ascertained from the debris. And that's why it's important that it's not disturbed.
Sure. I want to ask you about the scene, crash scene. Eyewitnesses describe a debris field from the crash spanning the...
We know this much. When she broke through the clouds last night, she was already on fire. She was burning on the way down. Whether it was the motors or a spontaneous combustion within the cabin, if they had oxygen or whatever. Oxygen is very flammable. You don't want to play with that. You don't want to play with oxygen. It's very flammable.
Size of a football field. We saw our Caitlin Becker there. We're taking a live look at the scene. Now, it is blocks long. Can you talk to me about the challenges investigators will face, especially with this crash happening in such a densely packed neighborhood?
Yes, it is going to be a challenge. I heard that there were cars destroyed. Well, when motor vehicles get burnt, some of the pieces of cars look a lot like airplane pieces. So separating the one from the other, it's going to take time. This accident, it was probably going to take over a year before we see any kind of indication of what happened. But
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And
Yeah, I'm just not seeing a lot of damage that we thought we would see, which is good. This is good. This is a good thing. Could have been a lot worse. Whatever they did, they put it down in the middle of the street, whatever it was, whatever. But it don't look like any buildings were burned or anything like that, except for the one on the end there. So it could have been a lot worse. There's a gas station right there. It could have hit the gas station. Next thing you know, that would have been unreal. Tanks underneath the gas station. It could have been a lot worse. But I think this is the same area that a couple months ago we had a big shootout. The big shootout. It was all over the internet. I think some of us covered it. And it was down the street from the funeral home. And I do believe this is exactly where this thing happened. But this was months ago that we were back here reporting on the funeral home shooting. I think that's what it is. It looks like that sign was in the street. It looks like it hit the sign. That's what it is. Whatever it was, took out the sign. Whether it was a plane, meteor, whatever it was. I thought it was the tail section of the jet, but I think it was the gas station sign. I can tell you right now, man, these people are lucky because whatever that was, if it would have got to the gas station, if it would have got to them gas station underground tanks where they hold all the fuel, ooh, you would have had a big problem. Yeah, we got a bunch of cars that are, I don't know why they're blown out. Their doors are blown almost like a, we've seen this before, a car bomb. I'm wondering if the government took out was tracking a weapon that was in America that was stolen from the government and took it out before it got any worse, before it went. You know, it's very possible. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing is the sign in the street. It ain't a. I thought it was the tail section of the plane, but it's the sign. That sign right there that we're seeing, the top of that. They got a little crater there, not very big. There ain't nothing left of that plane. If it was a plane, there ain't nothing left of it. Right there, I thought that was a piece of the plane. That's what I thought. That might have been a piece of the plane, but I don't think it is. I think that's a sign that was over there where whatever this object or whatever it was hit. I mean, I could be wrong, but that don't look like a piece of wing or a jet or anything. Dang it, I missed the squirrel. Cardinal. Well, thank God, because it could have been a lot worse. Don't look too bad. I think Philadelphia will survive this. I might have to fill in that little crater there or whatever, but who knows what happened? They'll find, they'll get to the bottom of it, folks. Don't worry about it. Um, don't jump to conclusions until they're done with the investigation. But they're saying it's going to take a while. And I imagine so because they got to collect all these pieces. I've been there before in them hangars where they got to put all this back together. They got to put it piece to piece all together, all these little pieces on the ground. They'll collect all this stuff, the motor, whatever this was that exploded. They'll collect all this stuff and then they'll bring it to one of our hangars that we got, airplane hangars. And then that's when the real work begins, is putting all these pieces back together to create whatever it was that did this. And that is very interesting to watch, right? Very interesting to watch. We even had to do that to the space shuttle. We did it to so many airplanes, boats, you name it. You collect all this. It's like building a model. It's like putting back together a model. And we put this thing back together, and it'll show what it was. If it was a plane, we'll see it. It'll show it, right? I don't know. It's pretty cool stuff, but you know, I don't even care anymore. I really don't. Nah, Mexico.
A medical jet crash just moments after taking off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport. Here's what we know so far. The blast sent flames and debris flying through the air and ignited nearby homes, businesses, and cars. The jet that crashed was a medical plane, a Learjet 55. It took off from Northeast Philadelphia Airport and was bound for Springfield, Missouri, then Tijuana, Mexico. Officials say 6 people were on board, including a child who had just received treatment at Shriners Hospital. They are all presumed dead. We'll be posting continuous updates on CBSPhiladelphia.com throughout the day for any breaking developments. Now let's check the next weather forecast. Here's meteor.
There he is. I got him. I got him. What are you doing, Blackie? Oh, and there's a peanut up there, I think. Nope, he ate them all already. Get some water, dude. Climb up there and get some water. Where'd he go? There he is. So they're saying that they were on their way to Tijuana, Mexico. They took off, and within 6 seconds, the plane came back down. I find that hard to believe because that thing was moving at supersonic speed. I don't know how you take off that fast. I don't know. Maybe their motors were powered all the way up. I don't know. What were they transferring? How many bottles of oxygen? People are saying there's bottles of oxygens all over the place. How many bottles of oxygen? Because if they were loaded down with a bunch of oxygen, then we know exactly what happened. The load shifted, and once that load shifted, just like the UPS jet, uh, they tried to compensate, and boom, the The front of the jet nosedived. Because why? Well, because the load shifted. Shifted to the front of the plane, so she dove right straight down into the ground. She stalled. Nothing you could do. Right? They're pulling up. And if they had stuff chained in there or whatever, the bottles of oxygen chained up or whatever, if that broke and then them oxygen tanks start moving all around or whatever, it'll shift the weight of the plane. And, maybe it was a load shift or whatever. They're saying there was 6 people on board, but I don't know. I have no idea. When this first started, it was just a plane, a lifeline plane that was carrying, it was for body organs. That's the story we got when it first broke, right? And they didn't even know if there was anyone even on board. And of course, when all this madness happens, do we know if people were really on board? We have no idea. We have no idea if there was anybody on board except for the pilots and the crew. Other than that, we have no idea. They can say, well, they might want to, something might not have happened, or something might have happened that shouldn't have happened, and now they got to cover their own butt, right? Make it sound like it was worse than what it really was.
Multiple homes and cars on fire. Well, joining us now is aviation expert Sally Geffen to tell us more. Sally, what do we know about this story so far? What's happened here?
So it was an aircraft called a Learjet, which was a medical ambulance aircraft, and it had a few passengers on board, and it had only just taken off. And in fact, the tracking data shows that it was merely 40 seconds, that's less than a minute, between takeoff and it actually crashing back down to the ground. It hit the ground at such a velocity. It was something like 183 feet a second. And it formed this massive impact and a huge explosion, and apocalyptic scenes, in fact, were being experienced and witnessed by local residents. This was a densely populated area, and people were running a fear for their lives. There are reports of some injuries on the ground as well. And obviously this causes shockwaves in the United States, which has come 2 incidents now within around 48 hours, barely 2 to 3 days, and very early into the Trump presidency and very early into the new year.
We're just looking at pictures now for any of our viewers that are at home. We're looking at some images from America after that crash overnight. How have we ended up in a situation where it seems that this kind of incident is becoming much more frequent? It's terrifying, isn't it, for anyone who's going to travel by air?
Well, I have to admit, I've been covering these stories frequently now over the festive period as well. This is the third, with the DC crash, that's the third major incident globally. I'm not saying in the United States, but globally in the last 30 odd days. And now we have this, it is a much more smaller.
Well, it's sad, but the truth be told, well, it's common. This happens. Plane crashes happen, man. Over residential areas. Hey, I'm with the rest of you, right? There should be restricted areas, no planes. Where should these airports be? Nowhere near neighborhoods, right? And another thing, that jet must have been supersonic because that thing came out of nowhere and came out of nowhere fast. They're saying within a minute of it taking off, it went down. It sounds to me like there was some kind of a problem within the cabin pressure. Something was wrong. They're saying, oh, it was the fuel. I don't know about that, baby, because I'm hearing jet motors at full throttle. But when she come through the clouds, she was already on fire. So I don't know who's talking. Well, it could have been the jet fuel was it was bad water dump. Bullshit. You can hear them motors screaming. Wasn't no fuel problem. She was on fire when she came through the fog and the clouds. She was on a destination, on a mission, had a target already picked out. We have no idea if any of this crap they're telling us is even true. What are we at? An hour? All right. Let's go to this press release real quick.
Number of other victims who were injured in this incident, and they are being treated in area hospitals. And thus far, our count is that there are 19 injured victims. But again, this is not etched in stone. The investigation is ongoing. Investigators are poring over the crash site right now. Further updates will be provided as soon as they are available. But I want to be clear that we will find a cause for this tragedy. Let me give you an update on utilities, gas, electric, and cable. PECO, we know that there have been households impacted, and PECO is working to restore power. The same goes for PGW. They are working to restore service interruption, for which we've learned has been minimum, but they are working on it. Our other partners, like SEPTA, there are detours, and you should check for updates on their website at septa.org for alerts and other advisories. We are encouraging as many people as possible in the area to stay home if you can, because this is an active investigation. However, I do want to note that we have members of our police and fire and Office of Emergency Management on all of our blocks. No Philadelphian who is in the impacted area should have a problem moving to and from their home if necessary and they have to leave. Let me also state, and this is very important, our local, state, and federal partners, they are all working together as we work to address this tragedy. And I want to give a special thank you to Ralph Hicks, who is the senior air safety investigator for the NTSB. I just spoke with Ralph shortly. I know the director is on her way. She may be here by now, but I want to say a special thank you to them, along with the FAA. Our governor, who was with me last night here and continues to be right by our side, Governor Josh Shapiro, our Pennsylvania State Police, Pennsylvania Emergency Management, the Department of Environmental Protection, of course, our Philadelphia Police and Fire, Office of Emergency Management, Managing Director's Office, the American Red Cross for Southeastern Pennsylvania, our School District of Philadelphia, all of the agencies and officials. We are grateful for your support. I have to now recognize, and this is essential, because again, intergovernmental collaboration and cooperation is essential. And I do want you to know that I have been told after speaking with first responders throughout the night that this has not always been the case. But with the support of the White House, with the support of our U.S. Senators Fetterman and McCormick, our congressional delegations in Evans, Boyle, and Scanlon, every state legislator who is present here, Reps. Doherty, Nielsen, Solomon, and Bellman in particular, along with State Senator Pecosi, Councilmember Driscoll, Commissioner Dealey, and the Mexican consulate is here. We want to thank you so very much. Your assistance in working with our medical technicians and scientists, it has been extremely helpful, and we are grateful for your partnership. What you witness here on today is everyone standing up together, and it is the standard operating procedure for how we will address this issue in the city of Philadelphia. The next thing we've received a number of questions about, and it's important that we listen carefully here. Shelter. There is a shelter at Samuel Fells High School located at 5500 Langdon Street here in Northeast Philadelphia. It is being operated by our Office of Emergency Management and the American Red Cross, Southeastern Pennsylvania, and it is operating 24/7. The Red Cross disaster workers, they are there to assist anyone who's been displaced by this tragedy. Yes, people have already begun using the shelter, and we encourage anyone who needs assistance to take advantage of it. If you need to reach them directly, feel free to call 1-800-RED-CROSS for any kind of property damage as well, or for help in filing a claim. I want you to call 911 though if you need assistance other than shelter today. So for shelter, 1-800-RED-CROSS. Anything other than shelter, we want you to call 911. In addition to that, mental and behavioral health. It's extremely important. If you need assistance with any mental and behavioral health services, we have them available through the city's Office of DBIDS. That's our Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services. We want you to call them. And again, the facts, because there's so much misinformation being distributed on social media, and we can't control that. So we wanted to make sure you have access to accurate information here on today. And that number that you should call is 215-685-6440, or visit www.dbhids.org. Now, how to help others displaced or impacted by the tragedy. I happen to be a praying mayor, and I know that prayer works. And if you, the most powerful thing that you can do, if you're home right now, if you're anywhere across the nation or in the Commonwealth or the city, and you're saying, what can I do to help offer a prayer for our city? Now is the time that we need it. However, we know people want to help, and we are going to make formal, actionable ways available for you to assist. But we do ask you to please do not come to the site right now. Do not come to the site right now. It is still very much an active scene. No donations are needed at this time. No donations are needed at this time. If there is any formal structure, and this is extremely important, there is no GoFundMe established. Nothing has been established on social media to formally impact this. So if you are seeing that, Philadelphia, it is not formal, and we ask you to proceed with caution. I would stay away from it if I were you. We appreciate everyone's desire to help, and if anything changes, we will let you know, but we must, and this becomes extremely important as I, watch the NTSB along with the FAA work with our forensics department and our Pennsylvania State Police. Right now, they need the ability to do their jobs, and that's what we want to make sure that we give them. So They're going to continue the investigation and efforts at the crash site, and it has to continue without interruption. What about road closures? We've received questions about this as well. Go online at Ready PHL to receive regular updates from our Office of Emergency Management. This includes information on road closures in the area and any relevant information for the public. Right now, I want to close by saying we're asking you to be patient. Your city is working around the clock with all of our local, state, and federal partners on every element of this tragedy. There are no silos. There may be specific lanes. There may be specific assignments that each of these respective agencies are responsible for, but the left hand knows what the right hand is doing, and they are collaborating on a consistent basis. And in our city of Philadelphia, my gosh, are we grateful, because we wouldn't have it any other way. We want you to keep those who perished or were injured in your prayers. For those of you who were wondering why we were so hesitant on yesterday to not give you any formal and/or official numbers, it was because we knew those numbers would be moving, and we knew what would happen as daylight came upon us, that the investigators on the ground, and along with their communication with our area hospitals, they would gather more intelligence. So Philadelphia, I want you to know that we will not act in haste as we are reporting on this issue. As much as we might want to communicate immediately, we will not share any information with you that has not been cross-referenced through cross-sector collaboration, and that's extremely important. We will update the public and the press regularly throughout the day. Thank you all. God bless Philadelphia. And now is the time for us to demonstrate what our One Philly philosophy means. I now want to turn it over to our governor, who's been here with us from the start, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me begin by affirming what the mayor said at the conclusion of her remarks, that the city is working around the clock to keep people safe, to understand what happened, and to be there for those who are impacted. The city's been working around the clock at the direction of a strong and steady mayor in Sherelle Parker. And I want to say thank you to the mayor for her leadership. Leadership matters in moments of crisis, and demonstrated here by Sherelle Parker, our mayor. I also want to reaffirm what the mayor said about everybody working together with common purpose. There are no silos or stovepipes. Instead, it is everyone joining forces together. I want to lift up those state resources that have been here in Northeast Philadelphia working around the clock. And I want to thank the mayor for referencing them. At the request of Commissioner Bethel, your outstanding police commissioner, Colonel Christopher Paris of the Pennsylvania State Police, who joins me here to the left of the mayor, has dispatched roughly 50 members of the Pennsylvania State Police from Troops K and M, and we thank them for their work here. FEMA, the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Authority, has been on the ground since last night under leadership of Director Randy Padfield, who slept here last night to work together with Director Teal and the other leaders here in the city, has made sure the city of Philadelphia has all of the resources they need. FEMA and the Pennsylvania State Police are no stranger to tragedies, and we will bring our expertise to support the work happening here locally on the ground. As I mentioned last night, I've been in communication directly with the United States Department of Transportation Secretary Duffy. He's asked if we need any additional resources. We do not. They have dispatched members of the FAA, and the NTSB has also been dispatched. We want to thank the federal government and our federal partners for their support. The mayor alluded to this earlier, and I just want to put an exclamation point on it. We are joined by several state representatives and our state senator for this community. Everyone is here on the ground. They're here on the ground not just to address you, but they've been here on the ground for their neighbors. I know that the good people of Northeast Philadelphia this morning, as daybreak came, walked out from their homes, came down from their stoops, and saw carnage in their communities, saw fuselage, saw destruction, and saw things that no one should ever have to experience in their neighborhoods. We also saw the very best of Northeast Philly, neighbor helping neighbor, folks looking out for one another. That's the Philly way. That's the Philly spirit. That's what the mayor preaches all the time about One Philly. This is not just a group of emergency response professionals working together at the state, local, and federal level. This is neighbors working together.
You know, I like what that gentleman just said right there, Governor Josh Shapiro. He's got the right idea, right? Philly is one, right? Philly is one. When you guys start thinking as one, where you're all on board with all your ideas that you want to do and your laws and everything, that's when you become a powerhouse, right? Philly as one. And you know, that's what the other countries do. They don't have any of this Democrat politic or Republican or blah 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 blah. They all believe in one thing and that's it. There's not wars within their countries or whatever. But I like this guy, Philly as one, and the rest of the country as one. Our hearts go out to Philadelphia. Horrible. Horrible. But accidents happen. These things happen. How could this have been prevented? Sure. Move your airports and go back to the olden days, restricted flight. You can't fly over neighborhoods, cities. Let's continue to listen.
To look out for one another. Our neighborhood has expanded over the last several hours. Northeast Philly to the entire city of Philadelphia, to the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and of course to our neighbors all across the world. I want to make special mention of Consul General Carlos Obrador, who joins us here today. His nation suffered loss in this tragedy. We are with you, Mr. Consul General. The entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania stands with you. This is the One Philly way, outreaching our arms to bring warmth and comfort and love to one another. I'll close by echoing the sentiment that the mayor shared. She's a praying mayor, I'm a praying governor, and I want to offer my prayers to all of those who are impacted. May God's light shine upon this wonderful city and all of its inhabitants. May we lift up those who are mourning and those who are in a moment of strife. This is a time for us all to join together in prayer and in common purpose. And that's exactly what is happening here in the city of Philadelphia, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Madam Mayor, thank you for your strong leadership.
We are going to make sure that we take a few questions. Yes.
Can you tell us about structures and damage to the neighborhood, and also if you believe there will be other fatalities or victims that you have yet to identify at this point?
What I want to do is ask our managing director, Adam Teal, and also our fire commissioner to come forward. Teal?
We've had, in this incredible tragedy that exists, the Philadelphia Fire Department did have 5 dwelling fires that were involved. Those fires are completely extinguished. Our fire marshals are on location continuing to investigate and search every one of those affected dwellings.
As anybody who's been here on the scene or seen the scope and the scale of this incident can attest, this is a very large area with a lot of damage. And we are still working in a number of different ways to assess that damage. Right now, We are doing another, what we call a grid search of this entire roughly 4 to 6 block area, a very dense area, to ensure that we have found everything that we need to find, that we have checked in, as you heard the mayor say, with all of the residents, and we will continue to do that. We have teams who are going literally house by house, door to door, and also our license and inspection personnel are inspecting all of those dwellings, all the dwellings in the area, so we can be sure that we don't have other hidden damage or structural damage, and it is possible that we will still find that. So as you heard, this is still a very active and fluid situation. It is entirely possible there will be changes to those casualty figures that you heard. And this is why, as you heard the mayor say, we are being very thoughtful and intentional about this. We have a number of patients who are currently in hospital. We have a lot of unknowns about who was where on the streets of this neighborhood last night at the time of impact. So it will likely be days or more until we are able to definitively answer the question about the number of folks who perished in this tragedy and the outcome for those who are injured. Right now, I would certainly echo, please pray for all of those affected by, otherwise keep them in your thoughts, this tragedy. Adam Teal, I'm the managing director for the city of Philadelphia.
Thank you for the governor or the mayor. Can you give any insight if the NTSB briefings have been able to recover a black box or anything from the plane itself?
Let me just state for the record that the NTSB, the FAA, all of our intergovernmental collaboration, it is all a part of an active investigation. When they formally have something that they can report, they will do a separate a press conference or press avail to affirm what they have recovered as a result of their investigation. But again, a special thanks to them for working in partnership with us. I also just want to state this for the record, because it came to light during one of our briefings earlier. There may have been some people in the area last night when the explosion occurred, and they may wake up and go out to get into their cars. They live in another part of the city, and they may have evidence actually on their cars. If that happens to be you, don't touch it. Just call 911 immediately. Our forensics unit, are just an amazing job, but everything is essential to us addressing this tragedy. So just call 911 if that's the case.
At this time, do you know how far reaching the debris?
You know, there are some people now that are trying to say that they're calling this a crime, right? They're saying that the pilot was from Mexico or whatever. This is just getting stupid. You know, I'll stick with Philly 1. Don't do anything the federal government is telling you to do. As Uncle Ted said, do not compromise, or whatever they call it. Don't do it. Do your own stuff. Philly as one. If you guys start thinking, you'll be the first country or the first state in America to think as one, because the rest are just puppets. And do this investigation right, like you're doing. Go door to door. The federal government would never go door to door. Go door to door. I like what that fireman was saying there. And these firemen are very smart. That fireman came to us and he went in front of Congress asking for funding to pipe in giant pipes into our wilderness out there in California and pretty much everywhere where we have all this wildlife and animals. And he wanted to put giant sprinklers at the top of these trees in case there was a forest fire. But they said, nah, are you kidding me? Why would we want to save our forest and everything? And we got death machines we got to build. And they passed on it. Boy, I'll tell you what, if they would have listened to that fireman and we would have piped in the water and used the sprinkler heads, we probably wouldn't have that problem out there in California with all them homes built. But hey, I don't run this effing country, so it don't matter, right? It's called common sense, and people don't have it. Sorry. You got degrees. That's what they get. We got degrees in it. You ain't got common sense. You can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars going to college to get a degree. But if you don't know what you're doing, I don't know what to tell you. Hold on a minute, folks.
Field is?
The area of impact, that area is roughly 4 to 6 blocks. And we also have debris in remote area where something happened with the aircraft, and that's something we'll need to leave the NTSB to talk about. So it's a very widespread area, and we are still trying to understand the entire scope. So as you heard the mayor say, it's possible that if you are somewhere not even near here, somewhere between this location and Northeast Airport, you may go out and find something in your yard, something in your car. Please, as you heard her say, don't touch it, call 911. We need to know that. This is still relatively early in the long-term trajectory of this incident.
So pieces of the plane were falling before the impact?
That will all be information you will hear from the NTSB at the appropriate time. The question about how large is this incident, we are still trying to understand that completely.
Director Teal, we talked about missing people. If there are missing people or people who haven't yet been accounted for, people at the hospital who haven't been identified, how do people get that information?
For right now, call 911. If you have, it's very important. The police department has a very robust way that they deal with missing persons cases. So if you haven't seen somebody, you think somebody might have been in this area, there's a relative in this area, and you haven't seen or heard from them, and you're concerned, call 911, and we will take it from there. Thank you, everybody.
That's it.
Thank you, everyone.
Before we conclude, let me state for the record, Managing Director Teal, Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel, Dominic, our Fire Commissioner, I have to say a special thank you to each of you for your leadership. To my senior team, Tiffany Thurman, Chief of Staff for the City of Philadelphia, Sincere Harris, Chief Deputy Mayor, Vanessa Garrett Harley, Chief Deputy Mayor, and the entire Parker administration, cabinet. Thank you all so very much for your support and the hard work that you are demonstrating. We will get through this, and we will get through it together. Thank you all so very much, and we'll report back later.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, there you go, folks. Philadelphia is on the job. They're going to go door to door, man, and they're going to be searching. It's going to be a long debris field, right? They're going from where the plane dropped. I got some sirens. I got tornado sirens going off right now, folks. Hold on a minute. Air raids. All right. I don't think you can hear it anymore. But they're going to go from where the plane took off to where the plane dropped out of the sky. So you got a big, long distance there where they got to go and look for. And they're telling people you might walk out in your front yard and see airplane parts. If you do, call the authorities. So don't touch anything. It might be contaminated. We have no idea what it was. They're saying it was a jet, whatever. We don't know. Thing was moving at supersonic speed, right? So we don't know. I don't know how something could take off, and they're saying within 60 seconds plummeted to the ground that fast and came in at a 45-degree angle. I don't know. I don't know. But you folks have a great day. I will be back here. I'm going to end this video. I got some stuff to do around here. Bear with me. I haven't had a cigarette in like a day or two, day and a half. So I'm improvising and compromising and overcoming, and ain't gonna last. I think I'm gonna have a cigarette because this whole world has drove me absolutely crazy. So you folks have a great day. I should be back here in a little while with some outdoor footage. We did get a couple squirrels this morning, and we did get a cardinal. I think it was a woman cardinal, different color cardinal. And we got some birds. So everything's going good. God bless everyone. Keep your eyes in the sky. If you see something, say something, right? Have a good day. God bless.